how to play Nick in 6 minutes or less. So here he is in all of his glory, and there are 2 ways to play him, dead or alive, and I'll be showing the differences in playing both. For Nick to be useful when he is dead, he has to be awakened. Now Nick starts the fight alive, and if his health gets below 0, he will regen back up to full health and start degenning down to 30%. The higher Nick's sig ability is, the slower he degens down. While this is happening, he drops all debuffs and is stun immune, gains a permanent fury buff that will increase his damage. If you heal or revive him, however, above 30% between fights, while dead, he will degen back down to 30% at the start. So Nick has a few things that he does. He is a major bleeder and he gains tactical charges. The tactical charges give him different utility and abilities, and you're able to customize how you want to play him by using these charges. He gets these charges the same whether he is dead or alive. However, when he is alive they expire, and when he is dead they are permanent. Now you can get the charges 2 ways. Every time you get hit, you'll get a charge, and using your special one will get you 4 charges when alive and 8 charges when dead. When fighting an Avenger, he starts out with 6 charges when alive or 12 charges when he is dead. At 5 charges, Nick's attacks cannot miss or be evaded, making him great against, all the Spideys, Nightcrawler, Ghost, Ebony Maw, etc. Once Nick reaches 10 charges, his Purify effects drops all debuffs, and at 15 charges, Nick becomes unblockable. Once you get 20 charges, they convert to a Fury buff that lasts for 10 seconds. Once the Fury buff expires, Nick starts getting the charges again, either by getting hit or by using the special one. In most cases, though, you do not want to convert the charges. Another nice little piece of utility he has, if you knock your opponent down with a special or a heavy, it will remove non-damaging debuffs like fatigue, armor break, weakness, and even heal block, but it doesn't work so great on concussion. He also has an auto block ability that allows him to be stun immune when your opponent auto blocks, great for all those Dusas in war. But he's a great bleeder, so ending your combo with a medium attack will bleed the opponent for 6 seconds. It's a weak bleed though, but if you end your combo with a light attack, you get a much stronger bleed, but it only lasts for 1 second or 2 ticks. If you throw his heavy, it will give you up to 3 bleeds, and these last for 12 seconds, and these bleeds are better than ending with a medium, but not quite as good as ending with a light attack. If you stack up to 8 bleeds, you will get a debuff called the Internal Bleed. That lasts for 30 seconds and does pretty good damage. This Internal Bleed can be extended with tactical charges and can be stacked. The best way to get the Internal Bleed on an opponent is to parry and use your heavy attack. And you can get up to 2 of them pretty easy. The special 2 will also bleed your enemy with up to 4 stacks of a mediocre bleed, but the stun you get is what makes this special the go-to after you have your tactical charges where you want them. The stun lasts for 3 seconds, but it is only a 50% native chance, but the chance is increased by 10% per tactical charge, so if you have at least 5 charges, you got a guaranteed stun. The special 3 is really not much of use, but it does do pretty decent damage if you have the internal bleeds going, and Nick is dead with the Fury buff. So with 2 internal bleeds and the Fury buff, we did 42k. With just the Fury buff, we did 29k damage, and with neither, we only did 7.5k damage. So how do we get the best damage from Fury? When Nick is alive, his damage is pretty meh. He's not the greatest version of himself, but if you play him alive, you can still do some pretty okay bleed damage. Don't worry about the tactical charges too much because they expire every 4 to 6 seconds. Just try to get the internal bleeds by parrying and throwing heavies or using double medium combos to get those stacks up quick. Mostly use your special 2 for the stun and throw a few heavies, or use the special 3 while he has the internal bleed up for the extra damage, but playing Nick alive is not ideal. When Nick is dead, playing with an aggressive playstyle will be the most beneficial. Best way to play him is to do the 5-hit combo, end with a light attack for the strong bleed, use your special 1 to get up to 15 or more tactical charges. Don't go up to the 20 though. And you go unblockable. Then switch to your special 2 for the stun. Every time your opponent blocks, just hit into them. Watch those bleeds stack up and the damage roll. And I mean, Nick Fury just made short work of Captain Marvel. Now we're going against Labyrinth of Legends Red Hulk. And I should note here too that his anti-evade mechanic of his tactical charges do not work against the Labyrinth of Legends evade. So keep that in mind. But you see he's blocking, we're unblockable. Nick is definitely a good character to have if you have an aggressive play style. So another way to play Nick is to keep dropping special 1s until you reach 20 tactical charges and they convert to a Fury, giving you double Furies. He does good damage this way, but I feel going for maximum bleeds is the best, but player's choice. Unfortunately, his synergies, all except for one, really benefit others. This contingency plan with the Captain Marvels gives Fury a 20% boost when he is dead, making him just shred through opponents even faster. Parrying him with her will increase his damage on both the permanent Fury he gets when dead and the one he gets going above 20 tactical charges. Also, the skill synergies that enhance his bleeds and the duration are super beneficial for Nick. Last thing I want to mention are what masteries I think benefit Nick the most. Obviously, Deep Wounds is one of the best masteries to have for Nick. Stupefy is another great one to use with his special too, because it allows you to get 2 full 5-hit combos in on any opponent that doesn't have any type of stun reduction. Despair is another good one if you're fighting regen opponents because of all the debuffs you put on the enemy. Nick is not suicide friendly though. You use way too many specials, and since you'll be starting most fights at or below 30% health, the recoil damage will kill you like that. Alright guys, that's all that I got. Let me know in the comments below, how did you like this? How to use Nick Fury in 6 minutes or less? Who would you use? How would you play him? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, let's discuss it. Bye.